If you're a high school athlete looking to get your first college offer, this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what I would do if I had 0 offers and I wanted to get my first one. We're going to break this video up into 3 sections. The first section is going to be figuring out exactly why you haven't received offers yet and how you can get your first one. Second is going to be talking about preparation for prospect camps and showcases. And third and finally, we're going to talk about reaching out to college coaches and just communication with them in general. I've included the timestamps so you can skip to any section that you would like. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about why you haven't received any offers yet. And this could be a variety of different factors, from skill, ability, age, size, or just the fact maybe you just haven't played baseball long enough. But the goal of this video is to figure out what that is for you, and then figuring out a plan where we can implement moving forward. So hopefully that makes sense, and we'll start talking about that now. So for example, if you are clearly not the best hitter on your team, right? Maybe you're on a JV team. If you're a guy who's not the best hitter on your JV team and you're expecting to get a college offer, then I think your expectations are just going to need to get toned back a little bit, right? And focus on more so of what the task at hand is. The task at hand, short term, should be how can I get on varsity? Or even shorter than that, how can I become the best hitter on my team? And if that's you, you should be asking yourself, like, am I doing everything that I should be doing in order to be the best hitter? Or am I kind of just skating by? Because if you're a guy who's just skating by and just hoping to just get your first offer, I'm sorry, but it's just not going to come. Unfortunately, it's not going to be that easy. You're going to have something that stands out. And we will touch more on that in a little bit. So first and foremost, overall, ask yourself, why don't you have any offers? And this step is very important. You need to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, truly, why don't I have any offers? And be honest with yourself. Because if you're lying to yourself, then you're just not going to be really set up well for the future. If you're lying to yourself saying, well, I'm so good, but if you ask a teammate and they say, well, no. So look yourself in the mirror, ask yourself why I don't have any offers. Once you have that very clear in your mind, whether that's I'm not big enough, I don't hit the ball hard enough, or I don't throw hard enough, or I'm not athletic enough, whatever it is, you need to figure out that. That's step 1. Step 2 is compile a list of things that you do well and a list of things that you don't do so well. And what we're going to do over the next 3 months, 6 months, year or 2, however long it takes, is we're going to continue to build on those things which are going good. And then we're going to really, really focus on the things which you don't do good. So maybe you are a great contact hitter, but you can't hit the ball for power. You can't hit the ball for power at the college level, which is why you don't have offers, right? So you're still going to work on your contact ability, right? But maybe you get in the weight room and you start developing a plan in order for you to get stronger so you can actually get noticed by a college coach. And that's just one example. Maybe another example is you're a great fielder, but you just can't hit. You're not just going to never take your ground ball again and focus solely on hitting. You're going to continue to take your ground balls like you've been doing, and now you're going to implement a plan in order to actually become a better hitter. Whether that's, a lot of guys I recommend is just do it every single day. Hit off the tee every day. If you have a tee in your backyard, hit off that every day and master that. If you have a cage, have someone to throw your front toss, batting practice, right? All these things are going to contribute. So develop a plan that you can stick to consistently. So we've talked about step 1. You got to identify exactly why you haven't received any offers yet. And then step 2 is compiling a list of things that you do well and things you don't do well. All right, next we're going to jump in and talk about prospect camps and college showcases. Get into it. So a lot of these topics that I'm talking about are going to go hand in hand. And before you even think about going to a college prospect camp, you need to have a skill that has been developed. If your skill is, I'm just going to show up, unfortunately, you're probably not going to get an offer. If your skill is, I can hit the ball extremely hard, and I know that if I go take batting practice in front of a college coach, I'm going to destroy the baseball, and that's what I have to show, at least you have a chance, right? You must have something that stands out, which if we go back to part 1 of this video, figuring out why you don't have an offer yet, and then figuring out how we can develop a skill so you can stand out and get that first offer. Now after you've developed that skill, now you can go to these prospect camps and showcases, and now you are showcasing what you can do. So first and foremost, yeah, develop that skill that's going to help you to stand out. Now, when you go to the prospect camp, you just simply execute, have fun, and show them what you can do. That's why they're called showcases. That's why they're called prospect camps. See, they can identify potential prospects, right? They're not going to give an offer to someone who's not a prospective college athlete, right? If they don't see you as someone that can help their program, you're just not going to get noticed, plain and simple. So it's about developing a skill that is going to allow you to get noticed, right? If you throw the ball 90 miles an hour, people are going to look at that and be like, whoa, that guy throws hard. It's easy to see. But if you're just a guy who's like 75 to 77, sure, you might have some success in high school, but no one's really going to turn their head and be like, whoa, that guy throws hard. Am I wrong? Right? So developing a skill or a talent that is easily recognizable must be easily recognizable. It must make a college coach turn and say, who's that kid? I want to talk to him. I want to figure out more about him. That's what we're trying to help you guys develop. All right, into our third section of this video, talking with college coaches, recruiting, and picking your college in general, which is a big step for a lot of people. And something I think that's overlooked at times is people get so hung up on, I just want to go play baseball here, but you don't realize that this is where you're going to spend your next 2 years of life, or maybe your next 4 years of life, right? So you want to make sure that you're in a place where you enjoy being. First, we're going to talk about some guidelines when talking to college coaches. First and foremost, be yourself. I say that with a grain of salt. I mean, if you're a guy who you are disrespectful to parents or adults, then maybe work on yourself a little bit. But if you're a dude who's doing the right things and you're respectful and you listen, keep it simple. Just be yourself. Have a conversation. They're going to ask you questions and answer the questions. One thing I would say avoid is try not to talk too much. If anything, I would turn it on them and ask them more questions, because then that's gonna make them feel like, oh, this guy's not only, one, is he interested and curious to learn more, but two, maybe he's actually just trying to find out what school is best for him. And that's gonna help a lot. Ask those coaches questions, things that you're actually interested in, figuring out if you really truly want to go to this school. Next, let's talk about researching colleges. So before you even go to a prospect camp, you have to figure out, like, what prospect camp do you even really want to go to? And when it comes down to researching colleges, if you're a guy who's a senior and you got to get your college applications in right now, what I would do is write down a list of the top 3 to 5 cities that you would like to live in for the next 2 to 4 years, whether that's staying at home or whether that's going to a different place. So after you write down your top 3 cities, you're going to go ahead and look into some of the schools that are actually in that location. And be honest with yourself. I mean, if you're a guy who's not a Division I talent, maybe don't look at D1 schools, because you know that that's not realistic. Don't get so hung up on the D1 or bust, because there's a lot of schools out there, and if you can go get your education and play baseball, then you win, right? The D1 stuff is all fun, but at the end of the day, if you love this sport, it doesn't matter where you go, because you're going to get to play baseball and you're going to get an education. So don't get so hung up on that. Look at NAIA schools, look at some D2 schools, look at some D3 schools, and just compile a list of those. So you picked your 3 cities, and then pick a few schools in each city, right? So you've got a list. I want you to pick 3 cities and 3 schools in each of those cities. That could be a JUCO, it could be an NAIA, it could be a D1. What you're going to do from there is you're going to go onto their websites. That's 9 schools total, and you can do more or you can do less, but you're going to pick 3 and 3. You're going to pick out those schools and you're going to reach out to the coach, and you're just going to send them an email, whether that's the recruiting coordinator, the head coach, the assistant coach, or if you want to do all 3, raise your chances a little bit. You're going to just send them an email, and in this next section, really quick, we're going to talk about what type of emails you should be sending. All right, so you've got your list of 3 cities that you want to be in and 3 schools for each city. Next, we're going to work on emailing the coaches. You're going to go on their website, figure out who the coaches are, find their email, and send them a very simple email. It's going to be as simple as, hey coach, my name is this, I'm a graduating class this, and I'm located here. I'm very interested in your school and would love to hear more about it. That's it. If you want, you can include some video. I'm going to actually make another YouTube video explaining a few different templates on emails you can use to email college coaches. But just to keep it simple, introduce yourself. Say, hey, my name is this, I'm graduating here, and I'm very interested in your school and would love to hear more. And one thing to realize is that you're not the only one who's emailing these coaches, right? They're getting hundreds of emails weekly, daily, depending on the school, of people sending them video and sending all this stuff. But so just understand they might not see it, but that's okay. All you want to do is just get in contact. The best thing that they say is they reply, and the worst thing that happens is they don't reply. But at least you gave it a chance, right? And you're giving your best. So introduce yourself and ask for more details. The next step to that is they're very likely gonna either reply back and tell you to come to a prospect camp, or they're not gonna reply. Generally, it's gonna be those two things. So next, the most likely option is that, say they do reply, they're gonna either ask you for more details, or they're gonna invite you to come down for a prospect camp. They're either gonna wanna see some video of you, or see you in person, right? So at that point, we've already developed our skill, right? We've already figured out what it is that we need, that we wanna showcase. And now we've reached out to the school. The most likely next step is they're going to invite you to a prospect camp, and then you go to the prospect camp. You've identified the city. Okay, I want to live here. I think this is a good school for me to go to. Now I'm going to go to their prospect camp and just showcase the ability that I've developed. And if they like me, great. If they don't like me, that's okay. I've got work to do, right? But that's pretty much a 3-step framework. Figure out the skill that you need to develop in order to get noticed. Secondly, figure out some cities and schools that you would like to attend. And then after that, you're going to reach out to the schools, hopefully get invited to one of their prospect camps. And not only when you get invited to the prospect camp, but you're going to be one of their top priorities. If you're a guy who just shows up, you're not going to be one of their top priorities. They're not going to know who you are. So being able to reach out to them first or get in contact with them is going to allow them to at least have a face to the name, right? They're going to know who you are a little bit more so than the other guy. And that's just sometimes the 1% that's going to separate you from the rest of your competition. Finally, choosing your college. You've developed your skill that really stands out, and now you have a lot of college interest. You're going to be going to these prospect camps and showcasing an ability that is wanted, something that college coaches want, and they're going to give you an offer. They're going to tell you, hey, come play for my program. But only if you have a ability that stands out. So that is really number one. We're going to do a quick recap, and yeah. So right now we're going to do a quick recap on what we talked about. First and foremost, it's identify the reason why you haven't received any college offers yet. Figuring out exactly why and what skill you're going to need to develop in order to actually get noticed. Step 2, develop that skill. Develop something that is noticeable. Third, you're going to go ahead and reach out to these college coaches in your desired city and your desired college. Hopefully get invited to their prospect camp, and now you're going to go showcase your abilities. So that is a pretty simple 3-step framework that you can follow and hopefully allow you to get your first college offer. As always, we will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Peace.